5,000 feet in elevation. You can see that it's a lot more darker, it's a lot more robust, but they're all black teas. The first one you tasted was a black tea as well, and this one is a lot more stronger, a lot more robust. So I did an episode on that show that I do called the PMDT Buyers Club, and we took the same tea, we took bottled water, we took filtered water and tap water down in London. We tasted the same tea, it tastes so different. And then the other key thing to note is how long you brew your tea for. So if you're brewing black tea, you want to brew it for anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes when you brew black tea. And the reason is you know when we talked about we oxidize and we dry? When you dry, and the reason, if you look at any black tea leaf, it has almost a caramelized layer on the outside of the tea leaf. And what happens is, in the first few minutes, when you put that boiling hot water in, this is why boiling hot water is crucial, when you put that boiling hot water in, you burn off that caramelized layer on the outside of the leaf. The next few minutes is where all the flavor and the aroma comes out. So when you take a tea bag and you dump it, and you shake it around and pull it out within under 30 seconds, the only two things you get is color and caffeine. That's it. You're not getting any of that. And that's why they made CTC tea, so that people can literally go dunk, 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 throw it away, milk, sugar, and then go.
So if you brewed your tea for 5 minutes, and then you take the leaf out, and you let the tea stand, are there further changes happening to it then when it's just standing?
There isn't changes happening, but usually as tasters, you should always leave your tea for a few minutes. And the reason being is that at a cooler temperature, you can taste much more of the flavor. When it's still very hot, you can't pick up all the flavors. In fact, when we taste tea, we wait till the cup is cool. When it's cool, we then slurp in our tea, and then we spray it around the back of our mouth. And by doing so, you're able to pick up all the quality and all the flavor in that particular tea.
And how is the level of the caffeine? Because we have this conception, you know, if you keep it longer, you will get,
a lot more caffeine coming through.
And it's true or not?
I wouldn't say in terms of brewing you get a lot more caffeine coming through. What you do get is you get a stronger liquor of tea coming through. So if you want to have a very strong cup, leave it for 5 minutes. If you want to have a lighter cup of tea, maybe, let's say you take the Vithanakanda. I've brewed all of those for 5 minutes. If you didn't want to have such a pronounced taste, brew it for about 3 minutes. And brewing, and this is the interesting thing in tea. Like I was talking about the science of it, there isn't any hard and fast rules because tea is a very subjective thing. So if you like to have your Vithanakanda very strong, brew it for 5. You may like to have it, not as strong. You want to go for that midpoint, brew it for 3 to 4. And we can give you the kind of rules of how long you should keep it for, but finding that unique taste to you really comes down to yourselves. I mean, some people like to add a bit of water to their whiskey to open it up. Some people like to add a bit more. Some people like to destroy it by adding some Coke,
How do the locals drink their tea in Sri Lanka?
In Sri Lanka, exactly how I related that story to you. Very dark, very thick. In Sri Lanka, there's a word, it's called kahata, which means dark and strong,
It would be more like this
It's more actually like the middle one, but the Fannings or dust variety of that.
And do they just have it plain, or do they have it with sugar or milk, or what?
They have milk with a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot of sugar. In Britain, in Australia, in New Zealand, any of the ex-colonial countries, we put sugar in our tea. Do you know why? Any ideas? Because the people who own tea plantations in India and Sri Lanka, these large companies that were called the Ceylon Tea Plantation or the Assam Company, their directors and shareholders own stock in Jamaican sugarcane plantations. And they got together with the Empire Marketing Board and said, look, you were supporting the empire by drinking tea from India, Ceylon. You were supporting the empire by having sugar, so the best way to do it is in your brew. And that's where sugar comes into tea, because nowhere else do you find sugar. Like if you go to Japan, they'll never put sugar in their tea.
Where is the milk coming from then?
Well, I don't know where the milk comes from, probably from the Milk Marketing Board, and also worked out well. They're on this bandwagon, we're going to jump on it as well. I want some action as well, I want to move some of my milk. So most probably from the Milk Marketing Board is where they put the milk into it. By the way, I mean, if you guys are going to add milk, one thing I heat it up. I always heat up my milk, and then I put the milk in first, and then I put my tea in afterwards. But that's probably more a personal thing. My Indian friends told me, he said, we were looking and we just see some of these guys have the entire town or the village, you know, at their stall, waiting to have tea. And I was like, geez, this guy's doing a lot of business. And I found out what they add. Pardon?
Alcohol?
No, no, no. It's not. It's actually opium. They add a tiny bit of opium, they get the village hooked on that flavor, and now everyone rocks up every hour to have tea from them. And it's very hard to police. You know, it's very, very hard to police, and you know, these are some of the things that sort of happen. So going back to the opium that was supplied from India to China, the Indians have realized, hang about, this was a good little business opportunity here. You know, we have people having 10 cups of tea. This is how I get brand loyalty, you know. So it's not through social media, it's through adding a bit of opium, you know. So if you go to our website pmdt.com, we have an interactive map and it breaks down into the specific sub-regions. So within, like I said, within Uva you've got different regions here, and it'll break down into those regions. Sri Lanka is an island 270 by 140 miles in length and width, and then within it we have distinctive agro-growing regions very similar to Scotland and its whiskey. So the first region up there is Kandy. Its tea is grown anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 feet in elevation, and they produce a very multi-type tea. The next region is Udapusalava, right in the middle of the country, and those teas grow at about 5,500 feet in elevation, and those are a lot lighter, but they have an astringent bite to them. The next region is the Mulla and the Pink, and these teas grow from 4,000 all the way up to 5,500 feet in elevation. And the second cup of tea that you tasted, Murray, that estate is found in this very region here. The next region is the blue region, which is New Aurelia, which you tasted, which was the Lover's Leap, the first tea that I brought round to you. These teas are grown at 6,000 feet in elevation, and this area is, you know, populated with a lot of wild eucalyptus and mint, and that's why you'll have that minty taste coming through in your cup, and that's why you'll notice that your cup's a lot lighter as well. And then you've got the Uva region. Those teas are growing again at 3.5 to about 5,000 feet. And then the final one is the Ruhuna region, which you guys tasted finally, which was the final cup. And these teas are growing from sea level all the way up to 2,000 feet. And they're a lot stronger, a lot more maltier. And you can see that again in your cup as you come down in the elevation.
So can an experienced tea taster pinpoint an estate?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you can not only, I mean, you can easily pick out the regions, but experienced tea tasters can pick out which estate a tea is from. You know, when you get used to, because what they'll do with tasters is you'll break them up into certain areas. So you'll have certain tasters that'll focus on low country, and certain tasters that'll focus up on the up country, and they'll be able to tell you exactly which estate it is.
It's a nightmare, really, isn't it? Because it starts with a picker. If they're not picked in the same way.
Exactly.
So it should theoretically be possible to pinpoint the picker.
No, it's a lot harder to, because the thing is you're getting. Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yes. You can work out men plucking to female plucking. That's very easy. When you get tea that has a lot of stalk, it looks brown in colour, you know that it's a men plucking field. That you're absolutely right. But to say a specific picker, that's a lot tougher, because the women who pluck tea, they're so uniform in how they do it that absolutely, yeah. It's just the men who can't pluck tea. We're talking about how, if I go over to that slide there, it's women who pluck tea in Sri Lanka, and what that lady has in her hand is what's in your cups of tea. It's 2 leaves and a bud, and this is what we use to make the best cups of tea. Men end up plucking, pretty much, yes. You know, guys just can't pluck tea. And
because they don't want to, because it's a hard job.
well, I mean, do you know the kind of jobs men actually get given on plantations? Well, yeah, apart from that one in the factory, a lot of the factory jobs are actually taken by men. But in terms of agriculture practice, what they get given is things like weeding, things like, you know, drainage clearance, more of the sort of, you know, heavy lifting work. But sometimes they're sent out to pluck, and you can always know when men pluck tea. Fourth, fifth leaf, the factory officer screaming down at the field officer, and then within a week you have the women shouting at their field officer saying that, you know, their own husbands have
Pick what they want to pick because the bush
exactly,
has been ruined.
the bush has been ruined. So, you know.
Pruning indigo.
So yeah, guys, do you have any questions for me? No?
Just thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. Hey, thank you. You know,
We can only purchase it on the internet.
you can get it on the internet, and we ship. I mean, like, a lot of our customers are actually up here in Scotland. You know, so usually what we try and aim to do is, if you order, we try and get it out the next day to you. So check out the internet. Also check out the YouTube videos if you want to learn more about tea. We're doing a show called the PMDT Buyers Club, and if you just YouTube it, if you just YouTube PMDT, you'll be able to find it on there. And I taste teas and just give you guys information and knowledge, what kind of leaf to buy, what's a good leaf, what's a bad leaf, you know, what are we looking for in an infusion, you know, so a lot of information going out there. Yeah? Guys, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.